When Rodri walks, I swear he's like.
It's not pace, but
why is he talking like he's in Jurassic Park?
I'm taking pounds, I'm taking yen, I'm taking cash dollar, I'm taking naira, I'm taking everything.
You ain't Trent.
Hey.
You ain't Trent.
I just realised FCM stands for your initials.
FCM on DR Sports. Make sure you guys go and check us out every Sunday. What are you waiting for?
This is FCM on DR Sports, and it's live.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to DR Sports. Welcome back to Live at 5, where we cover all the latest football drama on the pitch, off the pitch. And today I'm joined by AGT. He's had a big day, AGT.
Long day,
because obviously United versus Liverpool. I've been doing plenty of filming today, so has AGT. But we'll try and keep the energy up.
Yeah, but have you travelled 200 miles to get here?
I have not sat on.
No,
I've not sat down for a few hours.
Well, listen, mate. It's the get into the place.
Was it premium economy again?
It wasn't this time. I roughed it out in the old standard class in Coach C. But yeah, listen, long day, very long day. Obviously, came down this morning to London. This is my 5th show of the day. Train back straight after. But can I complain?
It's a good life.
A little bit. But no, 100% I can't.
Life,
listen, I worked 10 years to get here. So.
United versus Liverpool at Anfield, it's always going to happen. But we've got plenty more to cover on this show today. There's new stuff about Manchester United's ownership and the potential of a bid from the United Arab Emirates to come out. There is transfer news. There is injury news. Rodri might be out for Man City. There's United transfer news as well. There's also just dropped is some early team news for United versus Liverpool. So do keep an eye on that for the rest of the show. But before we get started, I do want to implore you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, go in the comment section on the live chat. There is a link to vote for the FCM podcast for the Guap Gala Award for the best online podcast / show. So please make sure to smash that like button on this video, like, subscribe, and go and vote for FCM. You do it now, do it at the end of the show. I will definitely give you a reminder. But now that's out the way, we're going to get into the news that is the Manchester United takeover news. We were here 3 years ago talking about Manchester United, a potential takeover. There was the Qatari 100% bid, and then there was the Sir Jim Ratcliffe stuff as well. And it obviously ended up being Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But now, 18 months, 2 years later, we're back talking about it again because the situation around United on August 13th changed. It used to be that Sir Jim Ratcliffe had the right to match any potential bid of the Glazers' funds from any outside source. But as of the 13th of August, it became that if the Glazers accept a bid of over $33 per share, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has no choice but to accept it as well. This is why there's been a whole swing of new takeover news at Manchester United. And today, Ben Jacobs has been given more information on it. Firstly, he said that Eric Cantona, obviously Manchester United legend, number 7, fly kick Eric Cantona, who scored some of the best goals Old Trafford has seen in the last 30, 40 years, has been approached to join the consortium as an ambassador. So not to invest, it's him and several other big players. I'm assuming this will be like Gary Neville, David Beckham, Roy Keane, etc. They've been approached to become ambassadors of the takeover bid. Or the potential takeover bid. And Ben Jacobs has also been releasing some more information about who is behind this bid. So he said, with UAE, one company in particular is involved in these talks. It's unclear whether they will front the consortium, but International Holdings Company, or IHC, who have been around for about 3 decades, have been part of the talks to put together a prospective UAE-based consortium. We don't know if anything's going to materialize. So to give you guys a bit more information on who the International Holding Company is they are a holding company based in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. And I was doing some research into it. It's been founded in 1998, so it's not something new. They've been around for a while. And the chairman is the National Security Advisor for Abu Dhabi. And the major shareholder of these people is the Royal Group, who are owned by the Abu Dhabi ruling family. So if you connect some dots a bit, it seems like the people that are some people who are answer to the Abu Dhabi royal family, Abu Dhabi controlling royal family, are looking at Manchester United and looking at bids. But what do you think this says, Alex, about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's reign so far at United, that the fact that just a couple years after he, took over controlling of the football side of the club, that already other people are circling and feel like they can potentially buy it off him?
Well, he currently owns, 27.7%.
27.7%.
So obviously the Glazers still have the majority shares, and they're not looking really to sell them anytime soon, are they? They think if we can give someone some shares and obviously get a big bucket load of cash through the door, then let's try and get as many people that do that as possible. But you can't say it's gone well. You can't say since Jim Ratcliffe, has it been 2 years now?
Almost
2 years. I mean, you can't say
2 years in December.
On the pitch it's gone well, and you can't say off the pitch it's gone well in terms of the money spent, especially last season, on signings that just haven't really worked out at all, really. And if you include Højlund and Xerxes, who, in this show we're going to speak about him maybe wanting to leave, and that kind of represents the just general health, I think, of on pitch and off pitch United in the last 2 years. If they're looking for more money to invest into the playing squad, then obviously you want to get that right 8 times out of 10. You don't really look at Manchester United's transfer record over the last 10 years and think, wow, what a signing that was. What ROI have we got out of them? I mean, you barely even are able to shift them for a third or even a quarter of the price that you bought them for. So Jim Ratcliffe is behind, not the day-to-day maybe running, but all those bad decisions that United have made on and off the pitch. And I guess we'll see this season if the signings of Šeško and Mbeumo and Cunha and the rest are good signings. But you have to say that, he is behind all of this activity in the last 2 years. And I mean, other higher ups even thinking, well, at the minute it's not going great, so let's try and bring some new ideas into the club, because clearly things aren't working.
Yeah, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and you mentioned like the signings, etc. My view is a little bit different. The way I see it, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, is a lot of the smaller decisions that I think they've made, that Inos have made, and like Omar Barada, the new CEO, Jason Wilcox, etc. The small decisions, most of them have been good. So if we look at the players that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has signed, that's been in the last 2 summer transfer windows. I've liked a lot of them. Matthias de Ligt, I like. Yoro, I like. Mazwari, I like. Šeško, Mbeumo, Cunha.
But none of them have hit the ground in an incredibly mind-blowing way. But this
is what I was going to say is, but then the big decision they've made, which is the manager, which is always like the biggest decision that you make is, you buy all these players, but who leads the team, who trains them? Yeah. The manager decision feels like the one that they've got wrong. When you talk about the all the people that have lost their jobs and everything, it's obviously, you never want to see someone lose their job. It's never a nice thing, but it was to some extent a necessity, because when you have, like, Liverpool are now a very efficiently run club, right? You're able to spend these £400 million in a window because you're able to save the money, use it effectively, and then raise sales correctly. Yeah. Whereas United, we had an extra 400 employees compared to Liverpool, which is a crazy extra number of employees, considering that the two clubs are of a similar stratosphere in terms of needing the right people and the numbers of people to run the club. And so the decision was a necessary one, and then at the same time, you save your millions doing that, and then you talk about Dan Ashworth, in which you paid Newcastle $2 million to get him, and then spent another $2 million sacking him a couple months later. Eric Ten Hag, you're keeping him, you're renewing his deal by a year, and then spending $20 million to sack him and his staff a few months later to bring him, and then so it's $10 million for that, and then another $10 million to bring Ruben Amorim in. It's like all the little decisions they're making, I think, are ones that are good ones, and then they mess it up with the really big one on top. And ultimately, I think that's the main reason why we're seeing United still fluctuating and sitting in 10th and 14th and 15th.
Yeah, when you talk about off-pitch, the Ashworth thing, I mean, that is such a mess. That is such a mess to get him out of his job, get him in and then sack him and have to pay 20 mil to sack Eric Ten Hag. I mean, from the outside, you'd look at that and go, someone who is in charge of all these decisions, big or small, is ruthless and wrong most of the time. In terms of, we've all heard the stories about the dinner ladies getting sacked, no more sandwiches, and, got to get the train now instead of the plane. I mean, it's laughable, cutting costs at that level, when you could just obviously not buy and spend that much on the players and get a manager who is open to adapting and change and will listen to the higher-ups at the start anyway, just to keep his job safe, and then maybe he can branch out after 4 or 5 windows. But it's just clueless, some of the decisions that they make up there.
What do you make
and the money that they've wasted, when you consider what they're cutting as well, the money that they've wasted on sacking managers is criminal. It's criminal.
No, I honestly don't disagree, because I look at the money they've saved, and effectively you're at a net zero because you've saved all the money, and then made decisions that also have cost you all the money. That's where I see.
Is it net zero though? Are you saving more than 20 mil to sack Ten Hag?
Well, remember, it's because these decisions aren't just. It's about the general day-to-day costs of the club coming down.
Right.
So obviously, it's money that's saved over time. So United's their loss overall last financial year was like 130 million. This year it's down to 33 million. So that's the idea that the club's looking at, is you've got to make the club profitable. Like say Liverpool, for example, it's going to be a profitable club at the moment. Real Madrid, I don't define it specifically, but I'm assuming these clubs are profitable and therefore sustainable. But then you're losing out on that profit that you're trying to make back, because you're then spending the 10 million to hire this manager and sack this manager, and then potentially spending another 10-20 million to sack Ruben Amorim again just a year later. It's frustrating, because I see some good ideas and decisions then completely knocked out of the park and ruined by some bad ones. Ronnie Dodge in the comments, big up for the super chat, mate, says the new stadium is a good decision, it's needed. That I do agree with. I know it's divisive, because
Even the circus tent, is that?
I like the circus tent.
Really?
Yeah, I know some people don't, but I actually quite like that tent. I think it's unique, and United Stadium should be unique. It should be completely unique
That's
to the
a
rest
little
of
bit
football.
too unique, though, isn't it? There's a stadium in Qatar that I went to that looks like that. It was the very first game of the World Cup in Qatar, and it looked like from afar some kind of circus tent. But it reminds me of the proposed drawings. But didn't they the other day get kind of rubbished, and they said that isn't going to be what the stadium looks like?
So what was happening was that there's a section of land which is currently owned by a company called like Freightliner or something. They're like a company that does something with big ships and stuff.
Right.
Who own the land, and United value that land about £40 million. They need to buy the land to help build this the big overarched thing.
Right.
And then that company turned around and went, no, we want £400 million for it. And United go, this land isn't worth £400 million. But then yesterday, this is why it's all come back up again.
Could they just
yesterday,
say, well, if
there's
you're
been a
building a
breakthrough.
stadium on it, yeah, it is.
But the idea is that the land itself, it's like, yeah, you could build something on land to make it worth more money, but it's not worth more money. So, but
Yeah.
I think basically it's just them holding out for more cash. Because according to Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail yesterday, it came out saying there's been a big breakthrough in it, which is why, because United were just considering not having the tent, but then the stadium just basically becomes a bowl. When you get rid of that tent, the stadium looks like a bowl, and I'd rather have the tent than the bowl. Is what I look at it. And the
Really?
tent's cool. It's unique. There's some big spires. It
What's
looks
its
like
job?
a devil.
What's
like
the tent's
actually?
job? What is it?
It's energy conservation. It's energy, and because the actual job of that tent, the actual like architectural reason why it's there, is because they want to make the whole area like a new shopping area, right? It can be like there's cafes and shops and there's cinemas and things, and it rains in Manchester, 200 out of 300 days a year. So effectively, they want shelter. They want a sheltered area to encourage people to go. And I remember reading about it. The idea of the tent is that it stores rainwater and then energy and everything. So like Arsenal, for example, when they built, what they've done, which is really good, is there's batteries under the Emirates that they charge when there's sunlight out. 'Cause there's massive solar panels above the Emirates, right? They charge these batteries, and then they use those batteries to then power the stadium to save energy costs and save. So it's to do with that kind of stuff. It's solar panels, saving water, and making the whole thing more like environmentally friendly while also providing a shelter. It does look like a circus tent, but I quite like it. But that's just personal preference. But in terms of the stadium needed to answer Ronnie Dodge's question, yeah, big time. You go to Old Trafford, if your stadium has rats, mice, waterfalls in it, it's not a good stadium anymore. It's iconic.
Don't forget the hygiene rating as well.
Yeah, exactly. Multiple times. That might be to do with the dinner ladies. Because remember that was
All the
uncooked
rats.
chicken, and the rats as well.
And
But
the
there was a period where we got a 1-star hygiene rating.
And
for
that's just the
uncooked chicken.
Stretford end.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Old Trafford, I know this is like funny banter and all that, but Old Trafford it is falling apart.
Oh, of course it is.
It's needed. I know I'm a younger breed of fan who doesn't necessarily have the same connection to Old Trafford that people do who were going there in the 80s and the 90s and everything. But at the same time,
How many times have you been?
The time. How many times have you been to Old Trafford? Like 5 or 6.
Is that it?
Well, because I have to work during the games.
5 or 6 in your life?
I know. I wish I could go more. I've been on the waiting list for the season ticket for 10 years. I've been 10 years waiting for a season
Haas
ticket.
has been to Anfield more than that.
Yeah, I know he has.
You got a new coat, Haas.
I do admit I do need to go to Old Trafford more, but I've got to work. I work during games.
I know, mate. But
I
you
work
got to
during
work at the
games,
game.
and the trains cost so much money to get up to Manchester and back every time. I wish I could go more. I really wish. But those of you who follow United District, we do match coverage on the day, and I've got to have my laptop, Wi-Fi, and all of that, so I can't do it. But in terms of a takeover, mixed feelings. I do have mixed feelings because it would mean step one, the Glazers are because if this is a takeover, this will be a full takeover. It seems like that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the £5 billion to take over the entire club. And in one hand, I'm like, if someone takes it over, the Glazers are gone. Because as much as everyone talks about, United's failures in the last 10 years, I know even you've said this, it's top down. If you're rotten at the top, you then rot at the bottom. You rot everywhere. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe's, I do think, tries with a certain amount of goodwill to try and change that. But it just doesn't feel like it's working. There's the wrong people in place right at the top still, the wrong people making these decisions, and they need to go. And then, just to a certain extent, I might just have to accept that the only people that can do that are people such as consortiums from Abu Dhabi or the Qatari bid, etc. There's not going to be. I can't really think of other people on the planet who will be able to actually pay what the Glazers need. But the club, aside from who could buy it, it's what the club needs. It's the only way the club's going to survive and get back to the top is if these owners go.
See what happens then, mate.
Yeah, because I don't see him changing. Like FSG, they switched up, they changed.
15 years of FSG we've had.
Yeah,
yesterday.
Was it as of yesterday?
Yeah.
And it wasn't going well, and they made changes, they cared, they invested, and it went well. Arsenal. Remember a couple of years ago, the Kroenke stuff? They were fuming with Kroenke. Kroenke out all over, you saw it. All the almost majority of the Arsenal fans. Kroenke didn't leave, but he switched up. He invested, he changed stuff, he brought in the right people. Now, Arsenal challenging for the league title, potentially favourites. And they've second place. I know you banned them for being second place, but they were in the bin. The owners, if the owners make a change, it starts with the owners at the top.
Would you say that Liverpool are the best run club in the country?
Right now, yeah. There's no way you can't be if you're spending the money that you've spent and you're able to do what you've done.
I agree.
And a large part of that is obviously the right manager, such as Jurgen Klopp, because obviously that's another central part. But in terms of a club that's being run efficiently, it's Liverpool and it's also Arsenal. Obviously both debatable because Liverpool are the one that have won the trophies, but that might be down to quality on the pitch. But in terms of being able to be run in a sustainable way, yes, it's Liverpool because it's the sales. That's what really matters. I think that's a sign of a good run club, is a club that can raise. Like Man City as well, they're able to raise 30 million quid from academy signings, 45 million for Cole Palmer.
I'm trying to think what was FSG's biggest early sale. So they came in 2010. It would have been Torres, 50 mil.
50 mil for Torres to Chelsea.
Would have been him. And then the Coutinho one is 8 years into their tenureship. 4 years in, they sell Suarez for 75. So they've obviously recouped a hell of a lot of money. But yeah, that's the blueprint. That's how you run a football club in the Prem.
Yeah,
and
it rewards. It rewards. You don't have. Are you in debt?
No, I don't think so.
You don't have the debt that we have, do you?
No.
Chelsea don't have it. Arsenal, I don't know if they have it or not. City obviously don't have any debt. We've got billion quid's worth of debt.
It does say as of May 2024. The net debt increased to 307 mil, but there was, this was because of an intercompany debt from FSG. Basically, it's got a credit facility of 350 mil.
But that's sustainable. As a club, that's sustainable because you're also not just adding to it and adding to it, adding to it.
Year
and it wasn't added to you by your owners.
Yeah, but the obviously it's a year in lieu, isn't it? So by the time April comes around, Liverpool will have counted the year when we won the league in the financial year. So that'll be big cash.
Look, it's such a Walter T our L9 says FSG was very rocky. They did not allow the war chest to happen this past window. FSG would have had more heat. If they had not, they would have more heat on them. But the thing is, they did. It's like saying, oh yes, they could have this, could have that. They may have not been able to do this, but they did it. And I mean, we'll see if it works. Obviously, like hoping they will be hoping that the signings work out, because so far, obviously, some of the signings have been fantastic. Some of them are yet to really prove themselves, such as Isak and Wirtz. Whereas obviously you've got like Ekitike has been amazing, etc. But it's the fact that Liverpool can do that. Like United can do that to a certain extent. Like we can be £1 billion in debt and still spend 250 million in the summer, because we recorded a record profit of record revenue of £666 million last financial year, which is mad. That's crazy. And the fact that if we were to be a profitable club and run better, we'd be able to blow everyone out the water in terms of what we can do. But because we've run so poorly, and we obviously had the dividend stuff previously, it's all very depressing. But
not for me.
It's not for you. It's fantastic for you. It's terrible for me.
I'm
having a horror show at the minute, as I have for the last decade. But in other news, Rodri was not taking part in Manchester City's group training session today. Marmoush and Ryan Ait-Nouri are back in full training, but Rodri, I went on his on Transfer Market to check his injury history of late. 'Cause obviously, he's been having his injury problems. I was surprised to see that he's 29. I thought he was older than that.
Yeah.
Rodri feels like the number of injuries that he's getting and like the severity of the injuries, etc., over the last few years. I thought that that's someone who's getting into their 30s and their legs may be going a little bit because they've played and given so much to Man City in the last few years. The guy's 29 and he turns 30 in June, the 6th month of the year, June.
Yeah.
On the end of June. So, but he was amazing, right, a few years ago. But is he as essential to City now than he used to be? Or is Pep kind of moving on from him a bit?
Well, he's got 2 years left on his current contract. You would think that Man City would give him another deal in the next year. I mean, you don't want to get too close to that expiry date without having some kind of guarantee. I could see him signing maybe 1-year deal. I mean, this does take him to 31. Injuries, could they impact his retirement age in general? I mean, a player like that is the battering ram really of a football team, and that CDM position, it's where I play when I play. And you're getting kicked, you're kicking, the injuries that you can get as a CDM, I think, are a lot more frequent and probably a little bit more serious than ones you would get as a striker, just because you are, like I said, the lighthouse, you're the brick wall that is supposed to stop every attack coming. Obviously, he did his ACL. He's now done his hamstring. I'm on the same page. I'm looking at his injury record, and yeah, listen, he's obviously missed a lot of games recently. I think he actually came back a little bit sooner than probably expected.
He did. I remember
so maybe
Pep saying
that's
he was
got
out for a
something
couple
to do
months,
with
then
it.
He came back.
Yeah,
And he's gone again.
And I mean, for someone that won the Ballon d'Or, when you actually look
A
at
couple years back.
how many games he's played them, it's really not many at all. And to get an injury this early into the season, considering that kind of long road of recovery last season, mentally he's going to be on the floor at the minute. And I think when he comes back, it might be too late for City. I know hamstring, if he's out I know he wasn't at training today, was he?
No.
I think you said earlier. So
Yeah.
a hamstring, I mean, it happened, 2 weeks ago now anyway. So there's probably another 2 to 4 weeks to come back. But I think if he can get a full season in him with this injury record that he's currently got, I think he'd be over the moon. But he can't seem to stay fit at the minute.
It's one of those situations where City, they're at a crossroads here, because Rodri obviously was such a big part of when they were winning back-to-back titles, won the treble. He obviously scored in the Champions League final to win them that title, and in their first Champions League. But you're also approaching a summer, the 2026 summer transfer window, that will be flush with incredible defensive midfield talent. So Man City might have to sit there and go, do we extend Rodri's contract and keep him on, or do we stick or do we twist? Do they get rid of Rodri, or just not give him a new deal, or tell him he's not getting a new deal and let him make a decision? Then go in and try and see what you can do for Elliot Anderson. Try and see what you can do for Baleba or Adam Wharton, or go to France and you've got like Bouadi and stuff at Lille who's smashing it. And what's the name of the other guy that's in Spain? Sangre, something like that. I can't remember how to say his name, but he looks very good. Like, do they maybe twist and go? Because City are a bit of a ruthless team. They're not one to, Kyle Walker was their captain, and Pep just went, "Nah, you're gone." As soon as his legs are gone, he's went, "You're gone, you're gone." Like they're not Julian Alvarez. He wasn't starting, and so they were like, we can get 90 million off you. Bang, you're gone to Atletico Madrid. So it's one of those situations that like City might just decide to reinvent themselves because they're in a bit of a reinventing phase at the moment anyway. Obviously, they've got Reinders, who they've signed, who's been good for them at points so far, but he is a little more defensive than the attacking midfield position he's got. They're going to be getting rid of like Calvin Phillips, for example. I don't think he's going to be lasting too long at
How is he
City.
even still there?
I know.
That contract.
I forget that he was there. They've also got Kovacic, but Kovacic is, again, one of the ones you might be thinking he's probably not going to be starting for the next 3 or 5 years. So I do reckon there's a real chance that Man City are going to end up entering this market alongside United and then potentially alongside Chelsea and Liverpool, etc., all looking for a big DM, that they might go, you know what, we are Man City. We can probably guarantee, better immediate success to the likes of Wharton or to the likes of Anderson, for example.
Yeah, I think Wharton is pretty much, I wouldn't say nailed on, but I know that Pep's a big admirer of his. I know how good he is. I've seen him with my own eyes twice already this season, Wharton.
Mate, he's
going to cost a lot of money. I mean, he's not necessarily your base midfielder. He likes to get on the ball and look for balls over to the channels or play with the 10 and maybe put strikers through. So he's not maybe a direct Rodri replacement, but at the minute they're still trying to replace Kevin De Bruyne. And that might be 2 players. That might be, if you bought a Wharton and another defensive player. I know they've been so good in that area in the last 10 years with Fernandinho and Rodri. So if Rodri goes, you're trying to replace or claw back the years of De Bruyne and Rodri, who have played in the same team, have won the Champions League together. That is some midfield to try and recoup. They've got this Nico Gonzalez. Is it Gonzalez?
Mm-hmm.
Who looks good. They've obviously got Reinders, who started off really well in his first game. They've still got Foden there. They've still got Bernardo. But they just need to get that midfield balance right because it isn't protecting the defence enough.
As well.
Yeah, I mean, he's been played all over the pitch in every position. But
Bernardo
that midfield at the minute, even with Rodri, hasn't been a title charge or, in the last 2 years, they haven't really had a title charge. So it hasn't really been too much of a massive difference, even though he is a great player, Rodri, in the last 2 seasons because... Again, it's not just, De Bruyne you're trying to replace. Did they really replace Company? Did they get the absolute maximum out of Ruben Diaz and Stones last year? Probably not. So although that team was incredible and it, on the back of that team it won trebles and so many league titles, they need to start reinventing it in a way that Pep's probably never been used to before in terms of, he's always had money to spend, but this season I think is the true litmus test of Pep and a transitional team. There's no excuses now. Even he, as well as Arsenal and Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, he spent hundreds of millions as well, even in January, to try and make this work. And at the minute, no one's really overwhelmed by this transition period that Manchester City are undergoing. So, like I said, this will be the true litmus test to see if Pep can, with money, take over a team that's, aging and really freshen it up to go and win titles again. If they don't win anything for 2 years in a row, it's probably the first time in Pep's career he's ever had that. And you'd look at the signings that he's made and go, well, actually, probably not the best money spent on, for example, Mateus Nunes or, in the summer, how much did they spend in January on players?
200 million.
Kushanov
at least, I think it was.
So
Marmoush
if they
was,
don't challenge
55,
this season,
60.
Pep and co will not be, maybe not be held in the, I don't know. They're obviously still a legend, but if he doesn't win a league 2 seasons in a row, then it's very rare for him in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever done that. Not won 2 years in a row.
I think he's had 1 season before last season where he's not won a trophy
when he was at Barca.
But then, apart from that, he's won everything.
Do you reckon, obviously, on the topic of Rodri and all of this stuff, that, and I'll comment, I want you to get involved in this as well, because it's kind of a 2-part question. Do you reckon that defensive midfield is now becoming, or might be, the most important position in world football? Like, because considering that, it's just something I think about quite a lot, I've thought about this before, is that all the best teams in the world pretty much have a defensive midfielder who would be valued at 80 to 100 million. And if it's not, both comments and obviously Alex as well. Like, what is the most important position at the moment? Because you look at Liverpool, you got Gravenberch. Part of the reason they're doing so well is because he is unreal. You got Man City at their best was Rodri, who was incredible. Declan Rice at Arsenal has been such a game changer for them. Chelsea, Caicedo was unreal in the Club World Cup, and he's one of their most important players. And then you look at the flip side, Man United, we don't have a good defensive midfielder. We haven't had a consistent defensive midfielder since probably Michael Carrick.
Yeah.
And we've been really inconsistent.
I don't think it's even a new thing. If you look back the last maybe 25 years, listen, the CDM, again, it's the role I play in football. It's never the sexy role. You're never going to be the highest paid player. You're never going to wear, maybe the coolest number on the back of your shirt. Like I said, you're going to be getting kicked, you're going to be kicking, you're going to be fighting, you're going to be taking yellow cards, and obviously you want to play a bit as well. But I think if you look at the last 25 years, it's all kind of flair players that the media have gone to in terms of, Ronaldo, Messi. But I'm thinking more like, Suarez and Salah, these massive names that we've seen in the Prem in the last 20 years. They've taken the headlines. But take yourself back to 96 even, right? When Arsenal get Patrick Vieira. And look at the success they have after Vieira. Chelsea go and get Makelele. Look at the success that Chelsea have under Makelele in that kind of position. Man United, as you say, with Carrick. Man City, when they got Fernandinho. Roy Keane obviously was doing it too. But, Fabinho at Liverpool won the Champions League and the league with Fabinho in that position. And you're right. To get a good one these days, you're looking at, it's anywhere from like 60 to 100 mil if you look at Declan Rice and Caicedo. But I think Liverpool bought Fabinho for 40. That would probably be worth 60. That was in 2018. That's probably worth about 60 now. We paid 35 for Ryan Gravenberch. And at the time, even at Bayern Munich, yes, he was a 6, but he didn't really come into Liverpool straight away and own that position. There was even talk of him leaving after his first season. But the way he played last year, he's obviously Young Player of the Year, gets into the Team of the Year. He shows you why. I think with the emergence, I think Liverpool won so many games because of him last year. If you could quantify how many points he actually won for Liverpool last year, I know you can't now, but mind-blowing how impressive he is. Takes it from a 6 to a 10. Most of the top 6s can do that. They can play a bit as well. I'm speaking about Liverpool. Mascherano, when we had him, the core, you just couldn't get past him. Even Xabi Alonso in that position as well. Like you said, United haven't really had a good one for a while, but that position has become, or is still, maybe, because of all those players that I just named, is maybe still the second or third most important position.
It glues so much together.
Pep Linders used to call Fabinho the lighthouse. That's why I referenced it earlier in his book. And it is, you kind of like, you've got your protection behind you, you're protecting the guys in front of you. And like you say, if you win a title in this day and age, like Liverpool did last season, like Man City did with Fernandinho, Rodri, you'd look at the CDM and go, they're a big part of why. If Arsenal win the league, a lot of the thanks would probably go to Zubimendi for being in that position, allowing Rice to push up a little bit more and get his goals. But yeah, it's such an underrated position. It's a tough position to play in. You've obviously got to be able to play a bit. It's not just about kicking shins. But yeah, I love that position, CDM, and like I said, it's where I shine on a football pitch as well.
You the one spraying the passes out?
Spraying them, mate. Spreading
Getting
them.
the ball, collecting them, rotating on.
Little look over. The right winger wants it. Play it into space. Bit of side spin on it into his path. Bosh. Again, in the comments, Loco Coco says Essien, Ballack and Lampard. That you've got absolutely everything in that midfield. Yeah. But Essien, again, almost took over the mantelpiece from Makelele, and look at the success they had under Essien as well. Real Madrid, Casemiro, when he was on form there. How many Champions Leagues did they win there? It's so crucial.
Five
especially
Champions
a 3 in
titles.
midfield. So crucial.
Yeah, midfield 3 with 1 6 and 2 8s. It's such a cheat code, man. I just wish we did it. For you guys who have just joined us, remember to smash that like button, comment, subscribe, letting me know everything that you think about what me and Alex are talking about. But also in the comments pinned in the chat is vote for FCM for the Guap Gala online show/podcast of the year. Make sure to vote in there for the FCM guys, because they so deserve it. FCM is fantastic. Obviously, if you don't watch FCM, why are you here? Go check it out every Sunday at 7 p.m. streaming live. And it's fantastic content. But you mentioned Loco Coco Pops, and he's actually asked another good question, which is, do you think this will be Pep's final season? Poor transitional period and the pending charges feels like a good time to bow out. I've just checked. His contract is until June 2027.
Yeah.
So this isn't his last season of his contract. But obviously, if Pep wants to walk, he walks.
Yeah. If he doesn't win another trophy this season, after giving it a real go this year against a transition in Liverpool, against a really strong Arsenal, and he can't win anything then, Arsenal are only going to get stronger next season, you would assume.
Yeah.
And Liverpool will as well once all of their top players gel in. So I almost think if Man City and Pep can't win the league this year, then the year after that and the year after that might be even harder to win because of the emergence of, even Chelsea maybe could overtake them in a year or two in terms of on the table positionally. But yeah, I know he's got 2 years left, but he's the kind of character that if he's let down by his own performance, he probably would just walk. And I would like to think he wouldn't take any money, but he's definitely getting that payoff if they sack him before his contract. So if he doesn't win again, though, it'll be like I said, first time in his career that he wouldn't have won in a season, 2 in a row. And he might just fancy a little break after that. That would be 11 years, I think.
Yeah. It's because one thing I'm thinking about is, the immediate question if Pep was to leave would be who replaces Pep. But then I'm thinking, like, the fallout of Pep Guardiola leaving. When Klopp left Liverpool, we thought, okay, there might be a bit of a fallout. But the way that the league shaped up for Slot's first season was very kind to Slot, in that a lot of teams underperformed and Liverpool still had a great set of players, a great squad. Whereas if Pep was to leave this summer, like we say that Pep's kind of City are in a bit of a transitional period, as the comments have mentioned, that they haven't got necessarily a settled squad with good players all over the pitch. Could they be in trouble of coming into a bit of a United post-Sir Alex period? Not necessarily as bad as what United have had it for the last decade, but where City might end up dropping for a little bit, because how do you replace Pep Guardiola?
Well, you could argue they've already dropped. They haven't... Last season it was pretty poor. I know they picked it up form-wise in the last 10 games to get a respectable finish, but there was a time when they didn't have a win in 13 games, and you're thinking Pep would never walk or he would never get sacked at that stage. Signs a new contract, and you're thinking they're obviously going to roll the dice again in the summer, spend a load of money, try and get that balance in midfield right. And it's not really worked last season for sure, and this season it hasn't started off great either. You look at the some of the early results. 2 or 3 defeats in a row. There was a big derby win which kind of saved them in a way. But yeah, I can't see Pep even really wanting to stay for more than 2 seasons without a trophy. And I think in himself he'll just fancy a different challenge. But I think he's definitely got enough credit in the bank there to not worry about being sacked for the next 2 seasons as long as his contract is there. But I think it would be a him decision what he chooses to do. I don't think they would dare sack Pep after what he's done for them. I think he would just go, right, I've had enough. I'm going to walk away. I've given it a good shot.
Yeah, I think he would choose to leave before City got to the point where they thought about even sacking him, because he's just done too well for them too. As he said, 11 years. That's I remember when he first came in. He was standing on that bridge everywhere, and then we had Jose Mourinho, and it was Pep and Jose are back, and then he just blew Jose Mourinho out the water.
Yep.
But moving on, we've got our 2 lads, our 2 teams, the lads playing each other this weekend, and I'm sure you've spoken about it on the preview on everything, of course, today. But there is a bit of team news that's come out in the last hour or so. Samuel Luckhurst, who's a United reporter now for The Sun, he used to work for Manchester Evening News, has said that Manu Ugarte is in contention to start the game against Liverpool. That worries me, personally. I was thinking it'll be Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro in the midfield, which is not the world's best midfield pairing, especially in the system that we play. But considering obviously Liverpool, there are a couple of questions around your form and how you're going to be, and how you handle yourself defensively, considering that you've got a couple potential problems coming in from the international break. But how would you react to seeing Manu Ugarte on the team sheet at United?
I mean, I wouldn't believe everything that comes out of that newspaper, but if he is involved,
I would more just trust the reporter rather than the newspaper.
Well, if he works for them, then
I agree completely. I agree.
There's no trust. That's the word to sum it up in an opposite way. But if he plays, then I mean, since he's joined Manchester United, let's not forget he had a good season at PSG. It wasn't like an outstanding season. They were quite happy to sell him, and they actually did sell him for a decent amount. When you're talking about that price bracket, 35 at least, 30, 35, 40 for a central defensive midfielder. It was about the market value. He's come in, and he's definitely not nailed down the position, in the team. Really, on Sunday, it should be him and Casemiro, maybe. I mean, even if you were to go and mix it up and have a Bruno, Mount and Ugarte, that's really what it should have been if Ugarte was who you thought Ugarte was. But he isn't. So Casemiro's even come back in the team at 30. How old is he? 32, 33?
3.
And then obviously Bruno, Ugarte can't be trusted, so Bruno's having to come back and help out in midfield, which isn't the position that United fans want Bruno to be in. He needs to be further up the pitch. So Ugarte has been a massive failure at Manchester United so far. He hasn't, like I said, made that position his own, or even really threatened the midfielders that are currently in there. Whenever he does come on, he gives the ball away, he gets a yellow card. He can't really spray the ball. He looks a bit out of possession. He looks slow and, stuck in quicksand a little bit. So if I'm Liverpool and I've got someone like a Florian Wirtz in that kind of furthest forward 8 position, again with probably Szoboszlai and Gravenberch behind him, either side. I don't think McAllister starts because of the time difference and whatnot. He's going to have to, and he's been poor this season anyway, but not for Argentina because he scored 2 goals last night. But if I'm Liverpool, if I'm Wirtz, I'm saying get me up against Ugarte. I want to get at him, try and move the ball past him, get him carded, put a bit of pressure on that Manchester United backline. I'd as a player on the other team, I'd be looking at Ugarte's recent performances and licking my lips, to be honest.
The only way I would be even okay with Ugarte starting, and to be fair, I don't think there is a world where I'm actually okay with it, would be as if we compensate by playing really attacking wing backs. Like if Ugarte's playing, I want him sitting. I don't want him coming crossing into that final third at all. Because he will be next to Bruno Fernandes. I'd no doubt in my mind that if it's Ugarte playing, it'll be Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes both playing. And the only reason I'd be like, if Ugarte has to play, it will be you sit in front of those centre backs. You act like a purely defensive player, run around, just try and get your tackles in, nibble at the ankles of people. Don't try and progress the ball, progress the play. And to compensate for that, I would want us playing attacking wing backs. So, for example, if we rock up and it's Dorgu and Dalot, or Dalot and Mazwari on the 2 sides, we're playing a defensive midfielder who's sitting back, 3 centre backs, and then 2 full backs.
So you'd rather Casemiro start than Ugarte?
I would rather Casemiro start.
Next to who?
Next to Bruno.
Even though that's out of position for Bruno.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, ideally, I think, to be fair, would be because I think if you were to just select a midfield pairing without any context elsewhere, it's Casemiro and Mainu. That's my ideal midfield pairing. But I want Mason Mount to start this game. I want Šeško to start this game, and I want Mbeumo to start this game. So therefore, I have no choice but to then drop Mainu and have Bruno.
No Cunha?
No, I want Cunha off the bench. So I've been saying this. I've been saying this in the couple of things I had today. Is Cunha? He's forcing it at the moment. You can feel that he's forcing it a little bit, and that's not a good thing. We saw it with Højlund more than anyone in the last few years. Højlund was properly trying to force it, get that goal, and that almost meant that he stopped scoring because he was thinking so much about getting that shot and getting it in that it felt like his teammates weren't passing to him because they knew that he wouldn't pass back. He would turn, he would try and shoot, try and get that goal. And it feels a little bit like, because Cunha's start's been rocky. He was very good against Arsenal. And he was all right against Grimsby. And then he was good against Burnley until he got injured. He then missed the City game with a hamstring injury. And then since he's come back from his hamstring injury, he's not been as good because he's trying to get up to speed. I think he's in his head a bit about no goals, no assists. Whereas Mason Mount is presenting better basics than him at the moment. And Cunha is someone who thrives off chaos. He's the kind of player where I look at him. I love players like this, where they don't quite know what they're going to do. So therefore no one else does as well. He thrives off chaos and mayhem. That's what Cunha is, and that's the best kind of players when they can use it to their advantage. So if this game is tight, it's 1-1, 2-1, 1-0 to either way, 65, 70 minutes, that's when I'm like, okay, now we introduce Cunha. Because I think the weakest part of Liverpool right now is that right-hand side, the right-hand defensive side. That's where I want us to see us attacking. And if we can bring Cunha on for that and get him to try and, like, you know, run at these players, like run at, let's say, I don't know if it's going to be Soboslai that starts a right back.
No, it'd be Bradley.
Or Bradley. I'm like, run at these guys. Be relentless with them. And if you've got a Cunha coming off the bench to do that, rather than Cunha starting and then Mount going off the bench to do that, I think it's more of a... I know it was cringe when he came out with it, but Gareth Southgate starters and finishers type mentality. With Cunha, I don't want it to be seen as Cunha's being dropped because he's not playing well. It's Cunha's assets will be best used, I think, in the last 20 minutes of this game. Which is why I'm like, I don't want to see 2 defensive fullbacks and everything, because you're there to be opened up. You are. Your attacking line is great, and the odds of us keeping a clean sheet are at the minimum. But it's not like you don't have your defensive frailties at points, and we would be so. I sound like Laurie here saying this. Would be remiss not to try and get at that.
No, and I think
come out the blocks, come and flying, come at you, play you foot to foot, face to face, toe to toe.
Yeah, I think that's what the fans and you would want, but I don't think that's what Amorim will do. I think if Liverpool score a couple early goals, then it's game over. But if United hang in there like they have done in recent trips to Anfield and try and nick something on the break. I remember last year I was at the game when Maguire smashes it over in the last minute over the bar. So if you get chances, which you will get a couple of chances. Can you take them? Obviously we've got a new goalkeeper in as well. He's only played 1 or 2 Premier League games. I think it's 2. So there's a lot for Manchester United to try and contain, with the fact that playing Liverpool in this stage is going to feel like playing a caged lion, right? We've lost 3 in a row. We've taken some real, late beatings recently. And this is our time to come back. And I think the first 20 minutes in this game, if United can get through that and frustrate Liverpool, then they might be able to nick something, maybe a draw. But I thought that for the 7-0 game, when we scored right at the end of the first half and then scored 6 in the second half. But we haven't beat you at Anfield since then.
No.
So that has to change.
2-2.
And like I said, the first 20 minutes, I want Liverpool to absolutely try and annihilate you and kill you before half time, to be honest.
Who do you think is going to be your most important player? If Liverpool are going to come out the blocks like that, who's going to be that guy to do it?
You talk about aiming at our kind of right-back position. If I was Liverpool with 3 at the back and Ugarte kind of projecting that, we need to get in and amongst that area centrally. Obviously, we'll have either Isak or Ekitike running in behind. And I do think this is the game, touchwood, where Florian Wirtz wakes up and he finally creates something or scores himself. But I think if you've got Ugarte in that position, try and get Soboslai and Wirtz kind of pressing them to force them into mistakes, create off the mistakes. I think... I think that's where we aim to hurt you centrally.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do to try and compensate that is use Mount as almost like a proxy third midfielder. He will, because Mount's one of the only people I think that can play that role. Like he's not lived up to
but he'll be
expectations.
On the right.
He'll be, to be fair, he'll be on the left, but it will be more, I think, he'll drop in near Bruno Fernandes on the left, which will send you Ugarte more out to the right-hand side to give, hopefully, Ahmad, if Ahmad's playing there, give Ahmad a bit more leeway to go up front and like running up and down that flank. So it's going to be an interesting setup, but yeah, with 1 game a week, I was worried about this to start with. I said this to Abby yesterday. To be fair, she asked me, how do you feel about Cunha, like saying that Cunha is not going to start big away games against Liverpool? I just said I'm happy to be talking about competition. But 1 game a week makes competition, like it makes it unfair almost on players, because players who would otherwise get the chance in that European game or that Carabao Cup game that you're coming up on the weekend against, away against non-top 5 league team or away against someone like a championship team, etc. And one of those is Joshua Zirkzee. And Joshua Zirkzee reportedly is really mulling over his options and potentially might want to leave United in January. So we only have Šeško as our only first team striker, because Zirkzee you've got the whole 9.5 meme where he might be better in the 10 rather than a striker. But he's not getting any games. You talk about Kobbie Mainoo not getting games. Kobbie Mainoo is at least getting some minutes. Zirkzee is getting nothing. Like nothing at all. And with a World Cup coming up with Netherlands, and obviously there being other players in his position.
Squad at the minute, is he?
No, because he's not playing.
So
he can't be near that squad.
Squad.
He was in the squad for the Euros. He got called up after, I think it was Frankie de Jong got injured, so he got called up. But now in the Netherlands squad, you've got like Memphis Depay has just become their all-time assist maker. And he's their all-time goal scorer and all-time assist provider as well. Yeah. You've also got Gakpo as well and other, like, you know, prominent Netherlands talents, striking talents.
Weghorst is playing up front, mate.
Yeah.
And if you're Joshua Zirkzee, with all due respect, right, to
you want to be starting.
You cannot be behind him in the pecking order. Even though Lang is playing games, Zirkzee, for the age that he is, with the experience that he's got already, which isn't that much, but obviously you signed for United, you score in your debut, you're thinking, right, let me get my teeth into this role. And actually, out of the both of them, I think he was actually a bit better than Højlund was last season.
Oh no, he was a whole level above Højlund.
Yeah,
he started really poorly. He had no pre-season, came back late. He had an early injury, and he wasn't playing well. He scored in his debut, and he wasn't playing well. But then after that Newcastle fiasco, you know, where he started and then came off after like 35 minutes. Post that, turn of 2025, he was smashing it. I thought he was playing really, really good football, and then he got a hamstring injury away against Newcastle, which ended his whole season. He came back for the final for like 20 minutes off the bench, but he didn't really do anything. But then this season, he's injured the whole of pre-season. We've then signed Šeško. Šeško's now scored 2 games in a row. Zirkzee's not starting over Mount, over Mbumo, over Ahmad, after Cunha. So he has no way into this team at all. Yeah. And Memphis I think almost kind of rightly.
Justin Kluivert, Daniel Malen and Bout Weghorst. And with
Zirkzee's easily as good as those guys.
Near that.
I think Zirkzee's a fantastic player. He's a little slow at points, which might be why he might not fit Amorim's style, because you need people who are quick off the mark, especially to play in that kind of the dual 10 role. So Zirkzee might not be able to fit it perfectly, but I completely understand him wanting to leave. If he was to go to the Serie A, lead a line, or even stay in the Premier League, go to Everton or something on loan, and play and fight
Everton
your way,
with you lot, isn't it?
Huh?
It's always Everton with United.
Well, Everton, I think of Everton, solid mid-table club that will have possession and give him some chances to play.
Yeah.
Without like the risk of relegation and like too much threat on his position. So if he wants to go play games and prove himself in the Premier League and get into that squad, that's just like a team that comes to mind for me. But also like back in Serie, obviously he was Serie A young. When we signed him, he was Serie A Young Player of the Year. He won Young Player of the Year in that league when he was 22 years old, playing for Bologna, and he was brilliant. And then suddenly he's in a situation where he can't get a game at Old Trafford. We've signed 3 players, all of which now start over him. I do feel for the guy, and I think it's the right decision.
When do you think that gets sorted though? Is that a January thing?
That's a January thing.
Is that a summer thing?
100% January thing. Some breaking news coming out. Jordan Pickford has just signed a 4-year deal with Everton, keeping him to the club until 2029. I'm surprised that Pickford has never played for a top 6 club, or he's never even felt that he's tried to.
He's not good enough to.
You think Everton's his ceiling?
Yeah.
Because he's fantastic for England.
I do think he is. He's like, if you've got the top tier goalkeepers here, and we're talking Alisson, over the last few years, the Alissons, the Courtois, the Ryers that are emerging now, the Edisons, he's definitely not in that bracket. I would have him as maybe at the top of like the average goalkeepers. He's like a top average goalkeeper without, giving him too much disrespect. I know he's Everton and what he's done to Van Dijk and whatnot, but I think he's a good average goalkeeper. And Everton, because they've stayed in the Premier League for so long and they haven't got relegated, you need a good average, reliable, dependable, always available goalkeeper in your team, and that's what they've got. I don't think he could play for. Could he be the Arsenal goalkeeper? Could he be the Liverpool goalkeeper? No way. Not City, no.
Do you think there's not been so he's 31 now, which is, as a goalkeeper, that's
how many years
less.
Now? Since
he's been there for ages. 8, 9 years?
16,
gonna
maybe?
be, yeah. And he's obviously signed another 4-year deal. Takes him 2035.
Listen, he's already a club legend there in their eyes. He already is because of his loyalty and even what he's. I say achieved with England. He's not achieved any trophies with England, but he's played in finals and saved penalties, and he's almost looked at as the England number 1 for this generation. But there's better England goalies than him. David Seaman's better than him. I know England haven't really been blessed with too many amazing goalkeepers, but he's definitely maybe the 6th or 7th best goalkeeper in the league. playing for a team that's been finishing firmly in the bottom half of the table for how many years now. But yeah, you need a top average goalkeeper to stay in the Premier League, and that's what they've got. I don't think he's ever going to play for a Man City, even Man United.
Oh no, not now. Like I don't see him at 31 taking a step up. But do you think he missed a point earlier in his career where he could have? Or was it? Do you think it was because it was never on the cards? I never really thought of any rumours where Pick has been strongly linked to anyone. Is that a case of because no one really ever saw him as good enough, or because or did he miss a trick at potentially trying to push for a move a couple of years ago? Or does he just not need to?
Quite comfortable, isn't he, at Everton? He's been there for so long, he doesn't want to leave. So he's quite happy, isn't he, to just do his thing and collect his money. He's probably got it fairly easy. He's got no competition there. No goalkeepers are knocking on his door, displacing him at Everton. So, yeah, I think it's
kind of secure his legend.
Secure. Yeah, he's very secure there.
One of the people that might retire there.
Maybe.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those at United at the moment. We've got Harry Maguire's apparently potentially close to signing a new deal at the club, because I think we're just kind of trying to stave off centre-back and trying to sign a new centre-back and wait as long as we can. But also it's come out the other day that Casemiro might be getting a new deal.
How do you feel about that?
We were talking about this on What the Devil on United View today. If you want to check out, me and Steph were talking about our midfielders today. And what's mad at United is that all 4 of our midfield options at the moment could leave in the summer. There's an argument for every one of those 4. Bruno Fernandes, there's an argument to be said that United can cash in, get 50, 60, up to maybe 80 million from Saudi, get obviously his wages off the books and collect that money to try and reinvest in a Baleba, Wharton, Anderson, or someone, get a big midfielder in, or like a good young midfielder in. Manuel Ugarte, you go, probably not good enough, can be sold for at least some money again to raise funds and free up a space. Kobbie Mainoo might want to leave if Amorim decides that he doesn't want to keep playing him, which obviously I think is an insane decision to make, but it's not impossible. And then Casemiro's contract runs out at the end of the summer. So Casemiro, genuinely, I wouldn't mind keeping him if we were to slash his wages from 350k a week to like
those wages
80
are
to 100k. Yeah, it's mental. That contract is meant as what 1.2 million pounds a month coming out of the club for that. Obviously, tax, national insurance, and wages. But it's crazy.
Decisions like that. I know that was maybe done just before
that was
Jim came in.
That was 2022. Yeah.
But it's decisions like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree completely. But considering that Bruno might go, Casemiro might go, and Ugarte, I think Bruno and Ugarte may be the 2 likely to go out of him, then 2 and Kobbie. If we bring a new midfielder in and we slash Casemiro's wages, literally I'm talking like a third of what he was on before.
He's not going to
80
accept
to 100k a week. Then I'd be happy to keep it. But any more, if he doesn't want to accept that, then he can go.
He won't accept that.
That's how I see it.
And if he's not
going to accept that, sweet, cool. All right, he can go. Saudi's waiting for him. I know they have been waiting for him for 2 years. He's had a contract offer on the table from Saudi
gone 2 years
for 2
ago.
years. Probably. We could
the
have got
fact that
40
he's
million
still playing games. I mean, I know he's had some stick in the past about maybe not being in the best condition, but he seems to have maybe picked up a little bit of form actually. Recently, I see him spraying it about a little bit more, but you can't really rely on a 30. What did we say he was? 33 now.
Yeah, 33.
Can you really rely on a 33-year-old? I mean, as soon as Fabinho's legs went, we got rid of him, sent him to Saudi, didn't we, with Fabinho?
Yeah.
So.
But then at the same time, I'm saying I want him to start against Liverpool. I think that shows our dire options.
Yeah.
Our dire midfield options. Like if we played a midfield 3, I'd be happy keeping Casemiro because in a midfield 3 he'd probably be all right. Him and then alongside Mount and Kobbie, for example, or Bruno Fernandes and Kobbie, or Mount and Bruno, with runners beside him who can help him cover the ground. But to have them in a midfield too, I remember when Amorim first came in, he played Casemiro and Eriksen together against Newcastle, and I've never seen a pairing get torn up so ridiculously. 2 slow midfield. It's these kind of decisions I think Amorim
criminal, mate.
Absolutely
criminal.
They're going to be his downfall. They're going to be his downfall, not compensating.
Hopefully not.
Well, I mean, you never know. If we beat Liverpool, he might have a bit more fun. But then if we lose, like it's almost a free hit, isn't it? It's almost like there's nothing really. Like, what are you going to say? Oh, you should have won that game.
Yeah.
Like, I know you mentioned like the Harry Maguire miss in the 90th minute of the other game. I think he was offside. That game, I thought we played well.
Yeah, he was offside, actually.
To I guess summarise what we've been talking about today, we've got plenty of takeover news. If you've only just joined us, obviously this stream will go back up live on the DR Sports YouTube channel, where we talked about United's takeover, some early team news about the Liverpool game. Rodri has potentially injured himself yet again, so we're talking about what's the future of Rodri and Pep Guardiola. Talking about the Liverpool versus United game ourselves, we both agreed that we want both our teams to come flying out the blocks. It's going to be a very good game, and it's not the last game, is it? There's one more game on the Monday, but it's obviously 4:30. There is plenty of content coming out on DR Sports over the next few days. There's the Saturday football show, I think, at 7 p.m, 7:30 p.m.
Yeah.
7:30 p.m. tomorrow. As I said, FCM podcast at 7 p.m. straight after the United-Liverpool game. Make sure you're there to capture the reaction of Culture Cams and Co. Make sure to vote for them in the description below. But apart from that, it's been great hosting this week. The Live at 5 will be back on Monday at 5 p.m. with Weekend Roundup also at 12:30 on Monday. Apart from that, I will see you then.
When Rodri walks, I swear he's like.
It's not pace, but
Why is he talking like he's in Jurassic Park?
I'm taking pounds, I'm taking yen, I'm taking cash dollar, I'm taking naira, I'm taking everything.
You ain't Trent.
Hey.
You ain't Trent.
I just realised FCM stands for your initials.
FCM on DR Sports. Make sure you guys go and check us out every Sunday. What are you waiting for?
This is FCM on DR Sports, and it's live.